literature, and I am a mother to a child that has hearing loss and uses a cochlear implant to hear. So, well, this is our story. My slides are just, zero too, but I've tried. So, mine is a journey mostly of hope and faith, and what a believing support team can do for a parent. When Sarah was doing her presentation, or maybe on the first day, she talked about how you are important in the life of a parent, and this story is just serves to tell you the same thing, just to show you that it works when you're there for that one patient. Maybe it's not everyone that will be, that will conform to what you want them to conform to, but that one makes a difference. That's what I believe in. So this is Ashley's, but she was little. She's about 3 years there, or 2. She looks so tiny. So at this point in time, she was this playful girl, and she was having the time of her life. That's us in the village, just taking a random walk. And at this point, she wasn't still speaking, but we had no idea that she was hearing impaired, mostly because it's not a thing that comes to mind. If it's not in your family, you're not anticipating such things, it's really strange altogether. So it was not in our minds that we would have her, declared or announced, or being told that she's hearing impaired. So the things that I had at the time were, it's because she's at home, there are no other kids, so we need to take her to school so that she can interact with other children. So Ashley went to school at 2.5 years, still in diapers. She was in diapers mostly because her drip won't get. So I had to really pick her like we didn't know what to do, because most of these trainings we do verbally. You tell someone, when you do this, you do this. So we really didn't know what to do. So we took her to school, and she continued to be in school and interact with other children, but she still didn't speak. But Ashley's walked before she was 1, like at 11 months. And you know what we are told at home? What are we told at home? Mtoto akitembea mapema atachelewa kuongea. Have you ever heard that? When a child walks early, when a child walks when she's a bit younger, she will delay, or he or she will delay in speaking. And if they speak when they're young, they will delay maybe in their walking. So those are the stories we used to hear in the village, that venye alitembea akiwa young, she walked too young, she's achieved her milestones, like really, really fast. So we just wait for it. We had women in the village tell my mom to cook a weaver bird for my daughter. A weaver bird, you know the weaver birds, they're very noisy. So they tell her to cook a weaver bird for my daughter, so that she speaks. That's a thing that was done back then. So those are the old wives' tales. So at this time, we are clueless, we are blank, we have no idea what is happening. But we are hopeful because she looked so pretty, so okay. It's all rainbows and sunshine at home. Then after that, of course, I took her to hospital, at the local hospital in the village, because she wasn't talking. I took my daughter to hospital when she was 4 years old because she was not talking. So when I took her there, I was told that we need to do a hearing test, and I was very skeptical about it. I'm like, what do you mean a hearing test? Maybe I took her to hospital so they can check, whether there's something inhibiting her vocal cords, because Ashley's had adapted to life visually. I would finish doing my chores, I'd finish doing everything, and I tell her, Mama, bring me the phone. I'm doing my chores, and I tell her, bring me Jake, and she would actually bring Jake. So I had no idea she couldn't hear. She adapted to the world with her eyes and mastering the routines of life. So every time I would send her something, because it was routine, she'd seen it before, she knew the difference between the jig and the star soft, because she had mastered that when I'm washing white clothes, I put jig, not because she had me say jig and she knew what the word was, it is actually because she adapted. So when doctors are telling me that she cannot, hear, it was not real for me. And this is Ashley's doing her first hearing test at Kijabe Hospital. Now it's important to note that at this point I was jobless. Well, I didn't want to be a teacher. I did the degree, but I didn't want to be a teacher. I had issues with teachers. Hi, teachers. because of my experiences in school, I know we all have that one teacher who said you're not about to do anything, and here you are, So I had such teachers, and I wasn't really looking forward to being one. But so I stalled a little bit, looking for other things to do. So at this time, I'm freelancing with some editing here and there, like book editing and a few other hassles. So I didn't have a job or anything to go by. So after this test at Kijabe, I went to Dr. Sarah. I decided to seek a second opinion. So in this time, because I'm not, I don't have an income, I had to save up what I'm getting. And then I walk into Dr. Sarah's office and she tells me about the cochlear implant, and it costs 3 million. And it broke my heart. I think I cried, I've cried for like 2 years, trying to come into terms with the fact that my daughter is deaf. It's the hardest thing I have ever had to go through in my life. And then the irony of it all is that I'm a teacher of English and literature, it's language. So that's ironical. It's humorous. I think God does his thing like that. So it was not really easy. So when you're told that there's a solution out there, I couldn't imagine my daughter never doing the things I did with my dad and mom growing up. We were that family, Dad used to buy us books. All my birthday gifts are books. So I wanted to replicate the same because it's a good practice, to read together, and then we'd sing songs to my dad, and with my siblings, my sisters, we're just sitting down, and then we start, just singing. And when Sarah tells me my daughter is deaf, I'm like, you're telling me all this time she's not happy? She's already 4. I want us to read, I want us to sing, I want us to do all these things. You're telling me it's impossible, because impossible is 3 million. I am jobless. 3 million is a lot of money. Even now it is. So it was such an impossible dream, but it was something I couldn't live with myself, knowing that there's a solution out there for her hearing loss, and not do anything about it. And then the fact that I realized when she was already 4, there's that guilt. More than anything, I think the guilt of not realizing early pushed me more than anything, to be honest. And I decided to put the first picture that I ever posted of my daughter was an appeal for help. So this is Ashley's. This is the first post I did on Facebook, and I put it out there that, guys, I need money from you to get this thing that I don't yet understand called a cochlear implant. It's gonna help my child hear. And at this time, this is 3 days after I left Sarah's office. Sarah told me, or the second and final test was done on the October 15th, 2018. So this post, I put it up on 18th. So I had to, because she had explained how time is essential. She told me about that, your child is almost 5, and you have no time, and there's this and that, and you hear with the brain, that side has not been active. She never used hearing aids, of course. So she actually told me it's going to be a 50-50 kind of thing, because your child has never had before. There's the risk of, what if we put the implant there and she doesn't hear, because the auditory nerve has never been stimulated ever. So there was that, and she explained it so well. But my jobless self looked at Sarah and told her, count me in the next surgeries, we're going to be there. And she didn't judge me, she did not doubt, and even if she did, she never showed me. She supported me 100%. She told me, you are sure you're going to do this? I told her, yes, I'm there, we are going to do this thing. And she supported me 100%. She would call to find out where we're at, what I'm doing. And it was hard. I've had friends calling it grieving. I've never called it that before, because I didn't know it was grieving, but I know I was still coming to terms with it. I was still in denial, I was still, doubt, I was still, feeling that this is not true. So I was also doing other things, behind the scenes. I'm fasting, I'm praying, I'm doing all these things, and I'm saying it's not possible. Like I don't understand, what is going on. So because I'm a human being, and we have to look for every possible solution and pray for a miracle. So this is the first post I did. And then of course the first surgeries were going to be done. So this is the first one. We were waiting for a pay bill at this point in time. I wrote to Safaricom, explained everything I need to do, what I want to do, and then, just a moment. Okay, so I did, the red picture is the first time we got it. It has a deadline for raising money for November 1st. Talk about faith. And it's October, it's end of October, and I'm talking about, guys, give me 3 million, I need it, because the surgery is on November 1st. So of course she missed out on that, and then we continued, doing posts. We did a harambe at home. My village mates came through, they gave me like $500,000, and then friends. At that time, of course, my friends, we were more or less in the same place. So even my friends don't have money to give me. But you know what they gave me? They supported me 100%. So we tweeted about it. We shared it on our WhatsApp every day. I would wake up every day and do reminders to people. So depending on our level of friendship, I would do, nice friendly messages to my close friends, and then moving towards acquaintances. Every single morning, I would put it up on my status every single day without fail, and an update as to what was happening. So eventually, and then I wrote to very many organizations, and I missed out on the November-December surgeries, but I was determined to be in the next ones that were done in April of 2019. So at that time, some of my friends from high school, you see those WhatsApp groups for high school? I sent it there. These are people we don't talk every time. But one girl, who were not even close at that point, saw it, and she works for a media company, and she got Victoria to do our story. We didn't pay, we don't know how, we still have no friendship with that girl, but she made it possible for this to happen. So you watch this.
5 years old, it's a critical age for
The police haven't attracted the information and they transported
5 years old. It's a critical age for any child. It's the year they typically begin kindergarten. They are balls of energy, curious about the world around them, and elaborate storytellers. Unlike most parents who are excited to watch their children hit this milestone age, Felista Duling is pensive. You see, her 4-year-old daughter, Ashliz Mweni, was born unable to hear the world around her. Ashliz was diagnosed with severe hearing loss last October and must undergo surgery before she turns 5. If she does not go through this surgery, she goes completely deaf. Today on World Hearing Day, we tell you the story of Felista and Ashliz and their fight against time. School is in session, and Felista is getting a few reports done before the day catches up with her. She's the front desk operator here at the Nairobi Leadership Academy in South Sea. Felista is only a month old at her new job. It was an answer to prayer for the 27-year-old single mom. Her 4-year-old daughter, Ashliz Mweni, who was diagnosed with severe hearing loss, is the reason she needs this job.
The cost of this treatment is really high. It's 2.75 million shillings.
Every day she clocks into work, she's earning what she can to chip away at that over 2 million shilling mountain of a medical bill that will cover her daughter's cochlear implant surgery.
Getting 2.75 alone wouldn't be possible. I don't have the income, my family, there's nothing to sell. My dad sold everything at Sonesha, so there's nothing more to sell. So we did a pay bill, we did a Harambe on the 9th of February this year, and we got quite some amount of money. I'm also insured by NHIF, but NHIF gives us, they gave us 300,000 shillings. So out of the 2.75 M, they've barely covered anything, and I really need it.
Felista is a trained English and literature teacher, born and bred in Kitui, but eventually found herself in Nairobi due to her daughter's therapy sessions. To manage costs, Felista lives in Kitengela with her brother, while her daughter Ashliz lives in Kitui with her mother.
I think at this point it would be nice for us to actually meet Ashliz, make our way there, and get a better sense of what it is that she is actually dealing with, in terms of also the burden on you. We've heard about the money side, but being a parent of a special needs child comes with its own challenges.
Sure. Yeah.
So let's head over to meet Ashliz, and after that, of course, head to the doctor so we can get to know more about her condition.
Okay, let's go get her.
Can we?
Ashliz's only form of communication now is basic sounds and crying. In her earlier years, Felista says there were no signs pointing to a problem until Ashliz missed her speech milestones.
1 year, no speech, but then, the normal kind of delay, I guess. 2 years, no speech. So we thought maybe it's because hakuna watoto around her. So we decided to enroll her to school. Kampeleka shule anaandika, she's active, the teachers are like, hey, Yota is really fine, she's okay, she's good, she's writing everything as she's supposed to do, but still, no speech.
That prompted Felista to take Ashliz for examination at Kijabe Hospital. A CT scan, MRI, and audio test later, Felista would eventually find out her daughter had severe to profound hearing loss here at the Nairobi Audiology Center.
I cried for like a week. I couldn't believe it. I see baby and I can't believe, because I'm sure she hears me, because when I sent her analytic tumor, the exact thing, no mistake about it. So it was difficult to actually come to terms with all that.
Since the diagnosis, Felista has been getting support from consultant audiologist Dr. Sarah Ndegwa to better understand Ashley's condition. Dr. Ndegwa is part of the team that will carry out the cochlear implant procedure and treatment post-surgery.
An incision is made there surgically in theatre, so then they put in the implant. The implant, what it does, it takes over the work of the inner ear. Remember we said in her case, she has got, her problem is really in the inner ear, what we call nerve deafness. So the implant will be put in there and it will take over that work. And then after 1 month, we will come back now to me, where we'll put in the external processor. This is how it looks like. We have it in different colors. So the external processor will be placed there over her ear, and then it's going to be attached right there to the ear through a magnet. Now
It's ring size.
yes, this is the ring size. Yes.
After the implant, Ashley would have to go for speech and language training sessions twice a week for a year. Time, however, is not on their side, with surgery set for April.
Once she gets to 5, the auditory nerve will start to die away because it's not in use. So basically it means even if we put the cochlear implant, yes, there's chance that she might actually regain the hearing and know how to speak, but it's a 50-50 chance.
Ashley is 5 months away from her 5th birthday. A deadline Felista hopes can be pushed further away. Dr. Ndegwa says for interventions to be most effective, a parent should come for a hearing assessment when they suspect there's a problem, adding that hearing loss can come at any stage of the child's development.
Some of them can be before the child is born, and those others can be after the child is born. Before the child is born, it could be just maybe maternal illnesses or just hereditary problems. And then during the time of delivery, it can be because the child took too long before they come out, so the breathing was what we call asphyxia. And then soon after that, some children get infections when they're still newborns. And the drugs, sometimes which are given to children, some kids are born prematurely. Some children are born with low birth weight, that is around 1,500 grams and below. So all those are like risk factors for the child getting hearing loss. And then later on, a child can get an infection, and that's why immunization is very important.
Felista wishes she knew earlier, but yearns for the day her daughter can do something as simple as playing outside without having to worry about her safety.
Baby can't hear a motorbike, she can't hear cars, she can't hear, basically, even the loudest of noises, she can't hear. Unless it's a plane in the airport right next to her. When we are covering our ears, she'll be looking for where the sound is coming from. So I was always afraid. And then she'd sit on the ledge, kneel down and peep and look at them, and she's calling out to them with her sounds. And she doesn't understand why. Naogopa anaweza ngoma na bike, watoto wakicheza wanasahau. Nilikuwa naogopa sana. So that the older kids, I had to explain to them why I'm tough and they can't take money with them down there. So I explained to them and they promised me, they had to promise me that they would always hold her hand and play together and keep an eye on her. So it became easy for me to survive and for me to have friends.
For now, Felista counts the days, hoping Ashley will get the necessary treatment so she can finally utter the word mom.
We're killing the future of our children.
I'm back. Sorry. So, friends came through in more ways than one. And they believed in me when I was telling them about a cochlear implant that will make it possible for my daughter to hear. They believed in me and stood by me. And while they didn't have money to give, they made things like this happen. They pushed the stories on Facebook and Twitter. And I remember, I think we trended like 3 weekends, Zimefuatana. And I did so many things. I was working for a school, whose owner is a Muslim. And the daughters took me to the mosque because they have a funding that they give people. And we actually went into a mosque to ask for money. And Ashley's, they actually accepted, but Ashley's was at the bottom of that list because there are so many people. They put up a poster, and that week when people come, they will give for that one, for a while. And then the following, like after 2 weeks, another person, and I have a timeline. So the things that I did to make this possible, I had to look for a job. And I knew that a teaching job would be the fastest job I would get because I have the papers for it. So I knew that Nairobi would offer the exposure that my daughter would need because it means audiology clinics, it means speech therapy every week, it means a school that can handle something like that. So I was grieving, but I was moving because I had a timeline that had been explained very well by Ashley's audiologist. So eventually, we raised the money in like 4.5 months, 5 months, because we really pushed this. Now, something about that clip was, our story was part of a whole story about insurance and everything. But when she met us and saw Ashley's, she loved Ashley's and she changed her entire story just to feature her and it coincided with World Hearing Day. So World Hearing Day for 2019 is where we aired that story. Then of course, so many people called in, strangers. I know what kindness looks like. I have lived it every day of my life since I was told Ashley is deaf. Because I live it, I breathe it. Everything in my life is kindness from people. So people, made prayer chains. And they called me, oh, we are from this church, we're doing this, and we'll send you money at the end of the week. And I had so many people support, people I don't even know. From the start of that taping, there's a person who sent 20 shillings every day until the day I announced I've closed it, we've gotten the money. A person I don't know. There are people that sometimes there was nothing coming in, so it was always today there's hope, tomorrow, the next day, and the day after there's no hope. So it was such a mixture of feelings, but I never rested. Then eventually we go for surgery on Sunday. It was a Sunday, the 14th of April of 2019. And this is Ashley's looking pretty after surgery. It's like nothing has happened. She's a sassy girl. She loves pictures. She's quite the contrast. Although some of you would agree, would disagree. But she loves pictures and she posed for actually this one, with all her bandage, even without understanding what is going on. She looks like a happy child, doesn't she? Yes. So and then we waited for switch on. So the next thing is a short video clip of switch on, and you will see some of my colleagues there. There is Irene, here she is. Esther is somewhere over here. This is Esther, and this is Irene. And well, now we work together, but they have been part of that support system that I've had since before Ashley's could hear. So this is her switch on. She cried quite a bit, so we've cut out that place. Oh, okay. So she cried, but she heard. We could see that she heard. I don't know why the video won't play, but you've seen how switch on goes. So this is typically more or less the same. So after switch on, of course we begin speech therapy, and Ashley's started to hear when she was 4 years, 11 months. And that was late. In the hearing world, it's late, right? We should hear, before, you can imagine she has a whole 5 years to round it off to cover, to catch up with her people, with her peers, the ones that are her age. And in 3 months, Ashley's progressed so much. She called me mom when she was 5 years and 2 months. It was such a moment. She could identify numbers 1 to 10. She could do, sounds R to H. In 3 months, she was progressing really fast, and I was pushing so hard because I want her to be, where she's supposed to be ideally. So in my head, I'm still working on. I'm still being pushed by adrenaline and guilt and so many emotions going on. And Ashley's crashed. Have you ever had a child crash because of being pushed by their parents? My daughter crashed. And this is how crashing looked like. She'd go for therapy, do the link sounds, cry the rest of the hour. So I cry a lot. So we would cry together. We would just sit down and cry. And it was a horrible experience. Now my daughter crashed because I was pushing too hard. I'm a teacher, and I became a teacher. I forgot how to be a mother, and I became a teacher with extremely high expectations because while I'm a teacher, she's also my daughter. I'm a perfectionist by nature. I want things to go right all the time, nothing that should be out of place. And my little or big things impacted in her in a negative way. So she crashed, and then in like November, December, in January of 2020, we had to start over again. So we went back to the things she had already known, just to try and ease her again into it. And then COVID happened. And the world was closed up. No school, no therapy, no nothing. A mother who is afraid to push her daughter because I don't want her to crash again. So I did nothing. So we just stayed until 2021 happened. So in 2021, I changed speech therapist. I went to Natasha. You know Natasha? She's my deskie over there. So I went to Natasha, and the first thing when Natasha had me talk, she listened to me and told me, Mama, your expectations are too high. She didn't tell me to lower them. She told me to just let my daughter be a child, to let her be a child, to let her learn at her pace. While there is that timeline and all that is happening, she crashed because of me. And Natasha could see that. Her speech therapist, who was able to identify these issues. And so I had to unlearn things that I had learned, parts of myself that make probably half of who I am. I had to unlearn routines. I had to be an imperfect mother for my child to thrive. So you remember the start of the story, I told you Ashley went to school at 2.5. So she stayed in kindergarten from 2017, mid-2017, up to 2022 March, when she graduated. So this is Ashley's graduating from kindergarten to go to grade 1. And of course, I cried again. I cried a river. She cried as well because her mother is crying. But I was telling her it's happy tears, it's just because I'm so happy. So the cochlear implant, it works. I am a testament that it actually works. But there's so much work that goes on into that. We've been seeing clips of parents working and everyone and our therapists that have visited us from America. This the input. You need to stand with your parents even when you feel they're not doing enough. Natasha set up a WhatsApp group for me to keep me accountable at home, that I was working on the assignments that she'd given. Because I was afraid, and now I became too afraid. So I was there, and then there's a busy schedule of private school and teaching, and life is happening. So she set up a group that was for me, herself, and the teacher that was in charge of Ashley's speech therapy. Now this teacher, the school that Ashley goes to has very many children, well not very many, it has quite a number of children who have cochlear implants. And they know what they're doing. They attend therapy sessions with the parent and the child, and they replicate that at school. And then the parent is doing the same at home. So Ashley's support system continued to grow because she has peers that look like her, confidence boost. She has her audiologist and her team of friends, confidence boost. She believes in herself. Then she has her speech therapist will not let her mother slack. And of course, that support system was also mine because I'm a very emotional person who gives up very easily. If it's not working, then put it aside, let's go to something that will work. So it's been quite the up and down journey. I hope this one will play. Why are they not playing? Try something. So this is the cochlear implant at work. So when Ashley went to Japan, she's trying something. Okay, so Ashley's progress picked up because I let go of the reins, listened to the audiologist and the speech therapist and the teacher, and I cooperated with them. So we worked together, and Ashley started achieving things that I used to talk about. In those posts, I did so many Facebook posts, and then I would tag. After we got the money, the first thing I did was try to delete them from my timeline, but because I was tagged, they're still there. I cannot undo that. But Ashley's, just came home one day and she's like, "How are you?" And she could just she'd say some random things. And some of those Facebook posts, talk about us reading together. Ashley's, hearing my voice. Ashley's hearing, us new age mothers, we want to be lovey-dovey with our children. I wanted her to hear me say that, I love her, she's the best, she's an angel, she's a star, those positive affirmations. I wanted us to read together. I wanted us to do so many things that I did while I was growing up. And so Ashley's began achieving them, but it took 2 years after Switch On to see such results. So you can imagine the many times I gave up, and the many times my support system had to show up for me when I couldn't show up for myself. So Ashley's launched the birthday song as the first song, because we take birthdays to school and children, children sing all the time. So we invited to a birthday next door, and all the children are singing, and there goes Ashley's "Happy Birthday to You," and it was amazing. What did I do? I cried again. I keep crying. I cried again, and then when we went home, I did a clip. I told her, "Now sing again so that I can show the world that this thing is working. I can show that the support system, we are doing something and Ashley is learning." So I went home and told her to sing. So we are trying to play the videos. You need to see her. she sang the birthday song. I can see you can hear it. So she. Okay, so the videos are refusing to play, but they are awesome, I promise. They are evidence.
Give me 2 minutes.
I give you 2 minutes.
Yes.
I think
So while we're waiting, you can sing.
it would be the same as Ashley's singing. Can we watch it from the
I'm sure we can see it. Yeah. I think so, yeah.
we watch from the laptop?
Yeah.
Will you be able to sing?
Just turn it.
Can you see? Can you hold it up?
Yes.
Oh, they have it. I have it. Oh, the Chromecast. Okay, I got it.
Okay, so you've heard a little bit of the song, yeah?
Yeah.
So we went home and then she sang it and then I sent it to my support system to encourage them that we are still together in this journey and it is working. She's evidence that while her switch on happened when she was 4 years, 11 months, and it's a little too late, that it can still happen. And they believed in me, and therefore I have to be accountable and work very hard so that we do our best. Let it never be said that we never tried. That is what I've always gone by. Let it never be said that I was told about a cochlear implant and I did nothing about it. Let it never be said that we switched on and I went home and slept on the job instead of just trying to put it into work. Because the success of the cochlear implant is not in the hearing, it is in the speaking of the child. That we know that something has happened, and if it fails, let it not fail because we didn't do enough. So Ashley's sings, and then this is her school, and they gave her the opportunity to talk about her magic ear. So we drew she uses the Rondo 2. So we drew parts of it and she was given an opportunity to talk about the parts. And she did this. This is not a video. Unfortunately, they didn't take a video for me, but they tell me she did so well. So you can see hers is off the ear, it's white in color. Her personality is, so big and extroverted, and she wants to be fancy and girly. So I had to make her girly. So I don't do black covers. We do as colorful and as bright as possible. That is how we get people talking. And what is this? And then I start talking about, now this one is called a cocktail. And this is what it does. And it's like, I talk about it everywhere because I do with her, I go everywhere with her. So she did a presentation in her school, and then I was able to let her camp out for an evening in school with her friends because I no longer worry. In the video clip from Citizen, I'm talking about the things I was not able to do. I was not able to let her out of my sight, especially after I learned that she cannot hear. As long as you don't know it, it doesn't bother you. You're still okay and oblivious to the world. But now that I knew why she wasn't speaking, I became very paranoid, yes, there were so many things that are not very nice adjectives. So I was so fearful. So letting Ashley's go for a night out was amazing, and I told Esther about it. She's a scout. That's Esther again. I told Esther about it, and Irene, and was so excited that I was able to let go because I'm still that mother who wants to, save her child from the world that is mean and evil, and she has a disability, and I don't want her to get lost and get hurt and all that. So this I was able to do. This is Ashley's now. She's wearing my sweater. I don't know what she was trying there, but she looks really nice. So this is Ashley's. This is how she looks now. And where is Ashley's now? Ashley's can express herself in a lot of broken words, but words anyway. This was something I never thought would happen. Even with that faith, even with all that, even with the drive and the push and all that moved me, there's still those moments of doubt. In 2022, I broke down completely, and I was ready to switch off the cochlear implant and go back and start from square zero. We go to a deaf school, and I started lobbying for a job, in Machakos area. I was ready. I was very ready. Why? Because the assignments from school had gotten difficult. It's new terrain. It's something, it's assignments that are many. She's coming home with 2 books instead of 1, and the assignments look complicated, and I have those parts of me that want my child to be perfect. So it was so difficult for me to write on the diary, Ashley's was unable to do this assignment. So I would force things. And then we'd get frustrated, the 2 of us. So she goes to bed, I'm left crying again, and I'm giving up. Who showed up again? The same support system. I told them I'm done with this. I'm done. That week, when I was actually about to be done, Ashley's came home and told me a story. She had never done that before. This is in 2022 October. So she came home and told me, Mommy, today, school. So I'll use different names. I'll use Irene and Esther, and I'll make Esther the bad one. So she came, and this is how she spoke. Mommy, today school, Esther, push Irene. Esther, bad. What did I do? I cried. Because at the moment of giving up, I saw hope. And I realized that the input I'm putting and everybody is putting, she's storing it. And it will come out when she's ready to do so. And it's amazing. I live the magic of the cochlear implant every single day. And when I fasted and prayed for God to give her her ears back, He gave her another way of hearing. It still worked out in the end. It's still a dream come true. It's still an answered prayer. And I'm very, very grateful. So this is Ashley's. So this is Ashley's.
My name is Ashley. I love it to guess.
I cut it, but she can dance. She's a self-taught dancer. She can dance, but that's how she speaks. When she's speaking, she speaks like that. And then this other one is a video of her yesterday evening.
Yeah, what is me to love you with all my heart and with all my soul and with all my strength. In Jesus' name, amen.
So that's Ashley's last night. I thought, let me do something current. I'm not a fan of videos and pictures, and Esther is always on my case. Tutumie video ya Ashley's current. Wacha hizo za akiwa mtoto. And then I tell her, oh, unajua Ashley's. And I give excuses all the time. So yesterday I decided to do one. And have you seen Ashley's before? She's that little girl in the middle of this banner. And I made her wear that t-shirt from last night so that you relate now. Relate. So that's us. And that's our story. And I am very, very grateful. I am very grateful. So when children or when you tell parents that the children cannot hear and you take them to speech therapy and they don't have an implant and you know they need one, tell them about the implant. Don't judge them because they look like they cannot afford it. I started this journey jobless, very broke. I'm asking people for money and I cannot give towards my own cause. Sarah believed in me and she believed 100%. I had a support system that has come through for me till now as I stand here. Now I work with the same support system. You can imagine how they're always bullying me because I'm the newest employee and all, and it's fun, and they've seen this journey. So every time you have that parent, if you see one willing, if they want it bad enough, they will get it. I wanted it bad enough, and we got it. Thank you very much for this.
Yeah, so power of a parent. Shows you what parents can do. Yeah. So I hope that was